Hello and welcome to another exciting, hopefully, episode of Star Trek Europa. I'm your host, as always, Dr. RPG Jeff Harvey. You can find me in all the places. There's a link in the chat. Will also be a link in the show notes and the doobly-doo when the episode is over. It is it's a linktr.ee/Studio Tembo. You can find me all the places at Studio Tembo. We'll get to do a little bit more of that near the end of the show, but feel free to please, if you like the show, like, subscribe, follow us on Patreon, all the fun things that you would normally do. In the meantime, let's go ahead and talk about my words. I got sleep too. So let's go ahead and introduce our players. That's the word I was looking for. Let's start with Brian. Brian, go ahead.
My name is Brian. I am playing Ensign Elizabeth Page amongst many other characters. You cannot find me. If you try to find me, you will go mad through the effort. And I have nothing to plug.
Cool. Evelyn, go ahead.
You're suddenly playing Call of Cthulhu. Excellent.
Yeah, exactly.
Brian is Cthulhu. I'm Ev. You can find me on TikTok at Caffeinatrix. You can also sometimes find me over on the St. Pete by Night Twitch server. I'm playing Dr. Dasavi Onayet and a couple of others.
All right, Jack, go ahead and do yours.
Yes, hello, I am Jack. You might know me from my own channel, twitch.tv/The People's Ascension, and my associated YouTube. I run a series called RPGs Uncovered, a series dedicated to showing just how quick and easy it can be for you to learn a new TTRPG. We look at a lot of indie stuff, a lot of really awesome games, and I break it down into rules, tools, and themes, and then run a little mini campaign for you guys to see how it all works out. I don't currently have a series running right now, but I'm working on getting the next one off the ground, so stay tuned for that. You can also find me here. You can find me playing some Veil of the Void over on that channel under the same name, and I'll be working with that Lion Knight 44 on his own channel, Tales for the Tabletop. So I'm actually doing a lot of cool things in different places. But you can follow me on Twitter at PPLS Ascension. That's where you can find everything I'm doing. As for what I'm doing here, I play Captain Ambrose, the half-Halian captain commanding officer of the ship, as well as Secret Agent Tong and some other really cool people.
Awesome. And we have a returning guest star for this episode. That would be Kendall. Kendall, go ahead.
I am Kendall. I'm going to be playing Dr. Terraless, and you can find me at Kendall the Elemental on TikTok or in the St. Pete server if you look really hard.
Look really hard. All right.
Gotta squint and
She's
head to the
tiny.
side.
She hides very well.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Just 5 feet tall.
Awesome.
One more thing to benefit both this channel and perhaps mine, it is September. So subs are off like 20% for 1 month, up to 30% for 6 months. So if you like the show, if you want to support, drop a sub. It'll help us out. Absolutely. And if you want to see more of me, I have my own channel that you can sub to if you really want to, buy a whole bunch of subs.
Right. Always appreciated. At the very least, if you like the show, share it with somebody else who might like the show, because that helps all around. Same thing for Jack's channel. If you find that you like Jack's channel, feel free to share that with anybody else who might like Jack's channel. That's the way to do it. Word of mouth is extremely important. So let's go ahead and do a quick recap of the last session. Evelyn, I think you have the keeper of the notes.
I do. All right.
Keeper of the trap.
Come back. My notes are surprisingly small for my recap notes are surprisingly small for like the 4 front and back pages of handwritten notes I took. So we did a bit of a time skip from all the Hidali stuff. We opened with Koba passing out flyers for his part, like paper flyers for his party that senior officers are not invited to. Rude. And we had an exchange with him and Tong in the hallway. And then later, an adorably fumbly exchange between Tong and Silva.
Yep.
Silva, inviting Silva to the party. The bulk of our story happened on Emil Prime. We were heading that way to drop off Dr. Lass and some supplies. It was a planet with a symbiote relationship. What the hell? which is being extra right now. With a symbiote relationship similar to Trill, and we'd been studying them pre-warp. We had not heard from Dr. Ben in a couple of weeks, I believe. When we got there, we came into system just in time to see a ship launch from the planet, and since the people inside become elated and then die. On the planet, we discovered the research lab had been compromised. There was no sign of three of the research team. We found Dr. Ben was in a building in town. We infiltrated. The people were taking equipment and paperwork and yada yada out of the lab into their own little tent city. So we infiltrated. We got into the lab. We found the 3 missing researchers in the freezer, that quite dead. Set up charges to blow the lab, evacuated everybody, went into town. Koba and Beren distracted and disabled the door guard. Dasavi mind-fucked the other 2 people inside the room. They should go somewhere else. And then we beamed Dr. Ben aboard to the brig, where he started to rapidly deteriorate. So we brought him back down to the planet and yelled at him for a while. We're going to leave him on the planet. We're sending Starfleet in for some proper first contact, fix this mess kind of stuff. That is the long and short of where we left.
Sounds about right. Anybody want to add anything to that? All right. So when we pick up in this episode, we are at, we're going to start out with Koba's party, right? So who all is going to be going to Koba's party? I'm assuming that Koba will be there, and Tong and Silva. Anybody else?
Mills will go.
I think Tara's very depressed right now. She's not going to a party.
Fair enough.
Now I want to play somebody who drags Tara to the party.
I mean, you could.
I feel like Koba would totally drag Tara to the party.
You could try.
Be very in his nature, be like, look, you just went through a super shit thing. Come to my party. You'll feel so much better.
Just put all the secondary characters.
I got real alcohol, none of that synthahol bullshit.
Jisa would probably be there too. We'll see if anything happens.
The SSH shows up. Robot.
What are you doing? Everyone disperse.
I think Kendall.
This is not awesome.
What's that?
Sorry.
I think Kendall, the character, will be there.
Okay. Teketh can't go, so still in jail. All right.
What about? You need a good bartender.
Right. All right. So I pretty much just put everybody that isn't a senior officer there. So you guys feel free to have at. The party is pretty hopping. No, nobody throws a party like a Koba. There's no party quite like a Koba party.
Legit.
So have at.
Mills turns up in civvies with her hair down around her shoulders instead of back in her usual bun. Looks around the room, saunters over to Koba, gives him a friendly punch to the shoulder. That one hell of a shindig.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for coming. Have yourself some drinks. Over there, we're playing 3-dimensional chess, but you're required to drink.
All right.
It's gonna be your time.
How it becomes 4-dimensional chess.
You'll be surprised at how much more interesting 3-dimensional chess is when you have no spatial awareness.
All right. She'll go get herself a drink and head over to the chessboard.
Right. I imagine that Tong and Silva have things to discuss, perhaps.
Yeah. I think Silva is wearing this is strictly uniforms, no uniforms. I should mention that Koba is wearing like a mesh shirt that shows off his pecs. And he is wearing jewelry. He's got jewelry on his head and ears.
So you're an 80s Euro dance.
I was gonna say my headcanon is now Koba's skin is UV activated. So we turn all the lights down, the black light comes on, and Koba just fucking glows.
Oh, 100%. No, 100%.
Just strobing watermelon stripes.
Yeah, that's the vibe.
Love it.
That's the vibe.
Here for it.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Silva is wearing a straight lined pants and a jewel colored top, and so she's made sure that Tong is appropriately dressed for the occasion. She's not showing up to this thing with him in uniform. So what's Tong wearing?
Yeah.
She'd have replicated him something if he couldn't decide.
Yeah. Well, the question comes down to whether he embraces Ferengi dress or whether he goes more human, because Ferengi dress is can be quite flamboyant. I think it's a little bit more subdued than you might see on somebody like Quark from DS9. It's not all bright stripes and patterns and overlapping patterns and gold chains and yada yada. But it's more this sort of like dark green blazer, but cut kind of like in the Ferengi fashion with a few more like real straight lines and harsh corners. Real thick collar that comes down, and probably just like these because Ferengi shirts, Ferengi overcoats like stop like at the midriff, so of course he has to wear these like high waisted but otherwise fairly just regular plain black straight leg pants, and yeah, I think. Yeah, I think he has some sort of like pin or collar chain or something going on.
Love it. She'll ask him, this couldn't be your first human party. You had to have gone to something at Starfleet Academy, right?
Oh, yeah. All the time. Well, not all the time, but yeah, there were a few things that some of the cadets through, older upperclassmen and whatnot. I got invited to some of them. They were fun. They usually came to me for stuff you couldn't normally get in San Francisco.
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah. Well, because I'm Ferengi, they assumed I could get anything.
Well, could you?
That's kind of besides the point.
Look, I'm just saying there's partying and then there's partying.
Yeah. Well, we don't need to worry about that. We're here to have a good time. Something.
Yeah, absolutely. So she goes up and she says, now this is she goes up to the bar. She orders a couple drinks and she says, now this is something you couldn't find at Starfleet parties. Not the alcohol, but the being able to having an open bar. At least when I went there.
Yeah, no, that's very true. It's very, very hard to have an open bar when you kind of have to smuggle it in.
Yeah. And I'd like to come back to these two.
Cool.
Yeah, I imagine Tong like we sit down at one of the bar stools and on the bar, and it's glowing, it's in like full party mode. Because of course starships have like their normal lounge setup, and then there's always party lounge setup.
Right.
But he just sits down on the bar stool and looks around, taps a little bit, swings his feet.
That's right. You were going to put this in the forward lounge, weren't you? This is the lounge that has all the holodeck stage and everything else.
Yeah, I was just about to ask about that actually.
Mm-hmm.
So Koba is in charge of the music here. He's going to program a holographic band to play.
Okay.
I mean, look, if somebody was to jump in the DJ booth, he won't stop them. But assuming nobody's in a rush, he'll get a holographic DJ to do the music for it.
Right. Do 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 do.
Yeah.
Play the same song again, all right?
Love it. I think it's actually an Andorian ska band.
Okay. So kind of rough.
A little bit rough, but fun.
Somebody putting those up there for me?
Yes.
I had them hidden so nobody could see them.
Well, can I hide them in the other corner because they're blending in with the markers? And
you can put them wherever you want. I don't care.
Hide them for you over
here.
Yeah, but I think if an Andorian ska band comes up, Jisa is going to get up and like drag a few people, like some people from the flight crew and some engineers and whatnot, and just start like pushing and jumping and doing the full kick thing.
Love it. Andorian parties are I'm sure Andorian mosh pits are places of pure terror. Love it.
Yeah, she probably pre-gamed a little bit before she came.
Was somebody going to go try to grab the Dr. Les?
Yeah. Let's see. Who would be good?
Elizabeth wouldn't be too bad.
I think Yezebeth is the poll. So Yezebeth is going to go visit Dr. Les. She chimes the door.
And she'll open it. She's just dressed down. Basically looks like she's ready for bed at this point.
Oh, are you wearing that to the party?
I wasn't planning on going, actually. Kind of gives a weak smile. I get the feeling I'd bring the party down with everything.
Oh, that's disappointing. I was really hoping you'd go. I was looking forward to having somebody from Trill, there. It might make everything a little bit easier. I'm not great in social situations.
Oh, well, surely you have friends on this crew, don't you?
Tong has a date, and Mills is on, or she's here, right? She's there?
Mills is there.
Mills and O'Connor are both there.
Mills is, O'Connor is not.
What was that?
Mills is, O'Connor is not.
Gotcha. O'Connor's on duty, and Mills, she's... Well, maybe I can tell you about this. I kind of screwed up with her. I told her some things I shouldn't have. And I don't know, things have been awkward with us ever since.
Kind of stares at her for a moment before letting out a sigh. Just give me a minute. I'll change.
Oh, thanks. Oh, you're a lifesaver.
You can come in and sit down if you'd like.
Yeah, sure.
This looks like normal guest quarters. She hasn't put up anything. It's mostly everything is still mostly packed.
Sure. I think we
She
can.
goes.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, and she goes and changes into something. She puts her hair, pulls her hair back into like a loose ponytail, and just she's not. It's just casual clothes.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think Yezabeth is actually wearing a dress. So, yeah, she said, when you're ready, she says, you're welcome with us here. I know you're not part of the crew officially, but it's so good to have somebody. The last person who the last person who stayed with us for a while ended up being a Romulan spy. So it's good to have somebody else around who's not Starfleet.
That sounds like quite the story.
Now that I think about it, it's probably not one I should be telling. I'm sorry.
It's quite all right. It's quite all right.
It's an ongoing investigation. I'm the one to talk about this.
She'll grab like her bag and just make a gesture toward the door. Shall we?
Yeah. Let's go.
All right. As you enter into the lounge, you are assaulted by the flashing lights and Dorian ska band that is thrashing about on stage with Jisa, I assume trying pretty hard to start a mosh pit with literally anyone who will come near her.
Yep. Within arm's reach, you're in.
That's right. Arm's reach is becoming the entire side of the lounge. So yeah, there's a lot going on.
He instantly looks very interested in everything that is going on because it's not often she goes to Andorian parties and she is curious.
Well, it's not just an Andorian party, but it's a Federation party where it's the best of all worlds combining to have the most fun.
Right. It is the.
At least that's what Koba's saying.
It's the mesh shirt wearing and Bolian who is glowing.
Bolian party.
Glowing.
Yeah, he is bouncing around, making sure everybody's having a good time. Yeah, he actually has the value life of the party. So he is trying to make sure that morale is high. I think one person who's not having fun though is Delphine. I think she is like sitting on the edge, and she's got like a half glass of wine, and she's just like sitting and watching Jissa as she's bouncing around in the mosh pit.
And I take it Delphine outright refused.
Do you think that Jissa asked?
Well, we can get to that actually, because you can only mosh for so long before you need to take a break.
Right.
Yeah. Luckily, the thing about a holographic band is it can always be changed.
Yeah.
Right. You belly up to, well, I mean, you could just take a break and go to water too.
Yeah.
So Jisa bellies up to the bar where Delphine is.
Well, if Brian, you had something for Delphine planned.
No, this is what I was hoping to get.
Okay.
To.
Yeah. No. After a little bit, Jisa will leave from the mosh pit, sort of like push her way out. Yeah, and I imagine with so many people here, and it's a human ship, the temperature is higher than Andorians tend to prefer. So she's kind of like club sweaty, but she's wearing this. I mean, if you're familiar with Farscape, she's wearing the Air and Sun get up, the leather pants, the probably like future fake leather pants. She too has a mesh shirt on, but because this is American television, you have to cover things up. So she's probably got like a leather like sports bra like thing going on underneath. Black and gray like Andorian leopard print kind of stuff.
Love it.
And yeah, she's gonna like tired saunter up to the bar and like throw herself down on a stool. probably next to Delphine.
Yeah. Delphine will like stir her olive in her, or when she had a wine glass, she'll like move her wine glass around a little, and she'll say, "You seem to be enjoying yourself."
Yeah. No, I haven't. Did not expect this. It's not bad. It's not bad. Barkeep, 2 Endorian Citrus Fizz.
It just nods and goes and grabs some out of the replicator.
What are you doing sitting here?
I'm not much of a ska person.
Well, it's not hard. And it's a little hard, but you just need to go in there and push people around.
Do I look like the kind of person who pushes people around?
You sound like the kind of person who pushes people around.
I'm not sure if that's a compliment.
She like pushes Delphine on the shoulder, maybe a little bit too hard.
Delphine looks very confused and like rubs her shoulder, and she was like, "No, I think I'll just sit here and enjoy my wine for now."
Wine? No. The drinks come over here. Take this. And of course, it's like this blue-green. It kind of looks like a lava lamp sort of thing, but the top is all fizzy and it's got this like dry ice smoke coming off. Here, this is a real drink. You're a big girl.
Thank you for noticing. She takes the sip and she goes, There's something. The chula berries are very overwhelming, aren't they? In terms of texture, I mean. I'm afraid I'm going to have to pass. She sets it on the table, pushes it gingerly away.
It's not for everybody. Takes a discerning and enduring palate. And she'll take the one she handed to Jisa, or the Delphine, who was handed back, and just pounds it.
Well, don't let me stop you from enjoying your dance. I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine. Just watching.
Well, this isn't much of a party. Just sitting here stirring a little green fruit thing.
I will have you know I'm enjoying myself quite a bit.
Okay. She'll spin around on the bar chair and like lean back real far.
All right. I can see you pouting.
I'm not pouting. I'm taking a break.
Taking a break to pout.
See, you do come across a little pushy.
Well, you're not wrong there. All right. I'll dance.
What do you want? What do you like? Where's Koba? You can make this thing do whatever he wants.
Koba comes up to the bar and he's quickly orders, can I get 3 synthale? Can I get 3 synthales? Just pure synthale. No, nothing. We're going hardcore with this. And he turns to you and says, "You two having fun?" Does finger guns at you?
Apparently.
Well, he says, that doesn't sound great. What can I do to make this party better for you?
Well, can you do this, but more Denobulan-like?
I'm not sure what that means. And
yeah, I don't either.
Delphine raises her hand and she goes, "Tell you what, after this next song, how about we slow dance? You and I." She points to Jissa. That's more my style.
Fine.
Sorry to torture you.
You go too slow, I might fall over.
Well, then luckily I've got medication for that. I think that's good for that scene.
And Tafine is going to drug Jesus. Little amphetamines here. All right.
That's not what I got from it. That's not what I got from it.
I say the last thing Jason needs is more amphetamine.
Right. Little Andorian cocaine. Anybody else have anything they want to do during the party scene?
Let's see. I'm sure there is.
We can always come back to the party too after things are, because the senior staff can be out doing something while this party goes on for a little while longer.
I would love to see any of the senior staff talking about the party and how they are invited. I think that would be fun.
Let's go ahead and do our intro roll, and then we'll come back to that.
Sure. Okay.
All right. So while the party is going on in the forward lounge, on the bridge would be the captain, or possibly maybe not in the bridge, but the command staff are doing their thing. When they're hailed by the USS, I didn't have a name for one. Let's say hang on.
The USS Apache.
Yeah, I was thinking something like that. That'll work. Enters in the system and hails the Europa.
Lackey says, Captain, we got a message. They're hailing us. Should I put it on screen?
On screen.
Put it on screen.
Captain Ambrose, this is Captain. Yes, Ambrose. Sorry. This is Captain Tenever of the Apache. I am here to initiate first contact with the planet. I would appreciate any briefings you might have. Your people have had some contact with them already, and I've read your reports, obviously. So this is a fairly large Bolian, pretty heavy set, like kind of spilling out of his chair. Didn't stand up to talk to you or anything. He's just, a big, heavy guy with slightly lighter blue skin than you've seen with most Bolians, but pretty pronounced ridges, and it's the kind of guy you kind of expect to have a leg of lamb in his mouth while eating, while talking to you. Like
very Henry VIII.
Very Henry VIII kind of size, yeah, and just demeanor to him. Yes, I would appreciate any assistance you could offer me before I send my teams down and to find this doctor. And he flips through some things. This doctor that you left on the planet, who you let join with one of their trill things.
Well, I don't think there was much letting involved, but yes, the doctor is down on the planet. I will send over the coordinates. Of course, he is being detained by a security team. We do have here on ship 2 two very, very well in their field anthropologists that you can speak to. I'm sure, as you said, you have their reports, but if you would like to speak with Dr. Tara Less or Dr. Varen, I'm sure they can be made available.
Yes, I'm seeing that Dr. Less is supposed to be joining us at some point during this. I believe I have orders here. Sends them over your way. They arrive at your station that Dr. Less is being reassigned by the Federation Research Outpost to the Apache to remain here. She has about 5 days to report. So,
very good. I'm certain she'll be a valuable asset.
I hope so. I don't know the Trill very well, Captain. I assume this won't be difficult, though.
It's an unusual first contact. I'm sure difficulty is to be expected.
Well, that's why we have experts, yes?
They're an interesting people, from what I've come to learn, and we may be playing damage control after Dr. Ven's approach to their advancement concerns. I will leave you and your team of anthropologists and diplomats to handle that.
Very well. I would invite you to dinner, Captain. Please. My crew and I will have a large. I like to have interchangeable, you know what I mean, intership discussions and whatnot. I don't get to see a lot of people with my particular people that I know, Federation people. Please come and join us for dinner. Bring your senior staff.
Of course, I'll ask around and see who I can spare, but it would be nice to get aboard another Federation starship.
Excellent. I look forward to seeing it, Captain.
Very good.
And it goes dark.
Aki mutters, "Oh no, another party I'm not going to be invited to."
Is Dasavi on the bridge?
Yeah.
Okay, I think Ambrose does that sort of like head tilt back roll and just like empathically. Oy, it's gonna be a whole thing.
You can feel the eye roll in response.
So he'll stand up and sort of nod to Dasavi to follow. Lucky, you have the chair.
Oh.
And I'm going to invite another one of my characters to this, not senior staff, but it might, this is going to be interesting. I'm first going to go get Varen, and then I think Ambrose is going to go find Tara.
Okay.
At the party.
All right. You find Vren without too much trouble. We don't need to role play you talking to yourself and convincing you to go to this party, but
would anyone else like to
do some party stuff before the captain arrives?
I would definitely like to have another conversation with Tara before Tara disappears. Yeah, I would also love Coaster to be able to go to the dinner as well. He's not
dinner.
Coaster, yeah.
Coaster.
I was thinking to the party. I'm like, you invited Kostra and none of the rest of the senior staff? Dick
No. Look, I've got an idea.
He picked a favorite.
And the favorite was Kostra. Ouch.
Yeah. But Yezabeth is going to be sipping her drink and looking out at the dance floor. And I think by this time they've switched songs or switched bands entirely. It's a new holographic band playing.
To be real honest, if the mosh pit was still going, Tara probably would have joined for a minute and then come back to Elizabeth.
I think we can say you did.
Absolutely. It was going on for quite a while, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I think Jisa sees you like looking at that and kind of getting into it and walking that direction. And Jisa is just going to maybe even like mid conversation, just like put a finger up to Delphine and walk over and just like body weight arm over the shoulder on Tara, like, drag her into the mosh pit.
Yes.
You look like you can have some more fun.
I love that.
Yeah, she likes watching it and experiencing things, but parties is a great place for that.
Yezebeth absolutely goes no.
Without all that tension, right, Yezbeth?
I'm just gonna sit here.
I'll be right back, Yezebeth. I promise. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go ahead.
And once it disperses a bit, she's gonna go back over to Yezebeth, looking a lot lighter. And she's probably going to what was her name again? Jack?
Yes.
Jisa.
Probably going to give Jisa a very hard slap on the back with a grin before she walks off.
All right.
Yeah, Yezebeth will go. That looked fun.
It was. Perhaps next time you can join us.
Oh, me? No.
Have you ever done it before?
Well, my one of my previous hosts was a certified ballroom dancer.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done it a bit, but also not. It's weird. I don't know how to answer that question anymore.
It's okay. Have any of you been in a mosh pit?
No, that I can say. None of my previous hosts have experienced.
There's a human saying that I like. It's not the years, it's the mileage.
She'll not.
Maybe have some experiences of your own to contribute to the host, or contribute to your symbiont.
She thinks for a second and she goes, okay, you know what? I'm going to go up there and then I think this is when the captain arrives to take her away. And Yezebeth will absolutely take this opportunity to not do that.
How would you feel about the captain arrives and Yezebeth turns to about face to Mills grinning behind her?
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Tara would have gone in to be more with her to the mosh pit to be moral support when the captain was coming in.
Perfect. Do we want to do that now then? Yeah. Captain arriving?
Sure, unless you guys, I was going to go to the slow dance, but we'll do that first. So you guys are getting ready to head off into the mosh pit when you turn. Mills is there and the captain is entering into the room. Captain, it is pretty raven party. There's probably some things that a senior officer wouldn't want to see his crew doing being going on up in here, but there
are definitely crew mates making out.
Mills shoots a look past Yezbeth at the captain, sir, and grabs Yezbeth by the wrist and drags her off to the mosh pit.
Wait.
I heard you said you were going to do this. Let's go before you chicken out.
Too late, but she goes.
So you would see that your query here is actually out there flailing about in what you can best describe as an Andorian mosh pit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Ambrose is just going to walk over to the bar, not sit down, but just kind of lean back against the bar, arms folded, and just take it in for a little bit.
There's a few people, a few of the junior officers that are, making their way up to the bar in a giddy state and see you and immediately stop, adjust themselves, and then turn and go back to sit down at a chair.
Yeah. I think Silva's one of those.
Dad's here.
Dad's here.
Yeah, Dad's here. Exactly right. Yeah. I think it'd be fun to see Koba and the captain have a moment here. This could be
Oh
fun.
God, yes.
Koba will not let rank stop him. Captain,
Oh,
so glad you could make it.
I heard there was something going on.
Yeah, I was going to invite you, but I was going to invite you directly. But some people get a little nervous when the captain's around. Can't be their true free selves. Not me though. I look when you look at Koba, you see all of Koba.
Which give him an up down.
It does the up and down.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to admit, it's pretty fantastic.
Euro disco Koba. That's an action figure I want.
You should go. You should go dance. I'm sure once the crew sees their captain getting jiggy with it, it will increase crew morale by a good margin.
Perhaps another time. I have dinner plans.
Damn it.
This is as jiggy as the captain gets.
Ambrose does one of these on the way out the door.
No, I think who would be good for the captain to go bother?
Silva might be fun.
Silva, yeah.
I just haven't seen those, so I won't. Maybe Mills.
Well, right now we've got O'Connor, Kendall.
O'Connor's not there.
Oh, right now.
Bother me last because he's removing me from the room.
No, wrong Kendall.
Other
Character
Kendall.
Oh, yeah, that's
Character
right. Sorry.
This is my point.
Yeah, we're working on that. There's Tong, obviously that wasn't going to work out. Silva,
Right.
Jisa, not going to work out. There's the whole crew basically there. Anybody you want to talk to.
No, I think Silva is good. I think actually Ambrose is going to just sort of at that point in what Koba was saying, sort of stand up and actually like put a solid hand on Koba's shoulder. Don't have too much fun. Still aboard ship.
Yeah, of course. I will have the maximum allowed amount of fun. I promise you that, Captain.
And Ambrose is actually going to not like violently, but like fun push you away.
Sure, he'll absolutely go party.
And kind of in the same motion, turn, reach over like deep around the other side of the bar. All right, there's a few like do, and he pulls out a bottle. And he's going to go over to Silva and I'm sure a whole bunch of other various crewmen.
Yeah, I think Silva, as opposed to my other characters, is like just cool as a cucumber. She's like leaning up against the wall, and she's chatting with some folks. But I think they disappear as soon as they see the captain coming. Silva seems unperturbed though, and she says, "Well." Please tell me I don't have to salute you here.
No, you're not in uniform. I am, but I'm not invited.
Yeah.
I brought a round, but I will.
Well, I can salute to that. Sure.
Yeah, he'll uncork this thing. It's probably in this like very, very sci-fi bottle. It's got a hole in the center. It's
green.
Yeah, it's green. I mean, in Star Trek, it's either green or it's blue. So it's this bright green, and he's gonna just pour a little bit into some glasses and pass one over. Not bad, given the facilities. Doesn't stand up to a Maquis event, I'm sure.
You might be surprised. We didn't have that much time to party, and back when I was with the Maquis.
Sounds like you were in one of the boring cells.
I was in one of the cells that got shit done. What about you? You party much? You don't exactly look like Mr. Man of the Hour. Maybe I'm wrong then.
The persona comes with the uniform. Put an extra pip on you, and weighs you down a little bit.
Even when you were, but what about when you were? What about back when you were lower decks? Were you much of a partier then?
You might not have had the same experience, but especially in war, there's two things you can do after a tough fight. Sit down, rest, wallow, lick your wounds. Or get up and just let it out.
I'll drink to that.
Unfortunately, I have another arrangement tonight I need to get to, which is sure to prove nowhere near as entertaining.
Oh, yeah? Something going on I should know about? As intelligence officer.
The Apaches arrived, taking over the first contact mission.
Well,
more senior officer to senior officer. Pageantry.
Sounds like you're gonna need one of those just let loose moments after.
Perhaps. Next time, we might arrange this shoreside.
That sounds good to me, Captain.
All right, I should be getting out of here.
Cheers.
Don't have too much fun, and keep an eye on Koba.
Oh, it's hard not to keep your eye on Koba.
So I think with that, Ambrose is going to turn and just walk straight into the mosh pit. And I'm sure it parts like Neo in the Matrix.
Yes. Yeah, things as you walk in, somebody pushes you, or goes to push you at first, and then promptly they get their hand on you and then promptly see who you are and stop and
it's like pushing a wall.
Do a half salute and then move
dust
off to somewhere else.
Your uniform and move away.
So yeah, make your way up to the person who looks suspiciously like a young version of Mills.
She does. I noticed that.
Yeah. I think Tara is doing her thing, facing away, and I think Ambrose is just going to heavy hand on the shoulder.
So that's to Tara.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just kind of look up at him.
I mean, do you turn? Do you push? Do you
He probably pushes him a little bit at first, but then realizes that he's not moshing.
Mm-hmm.
She's not startling.
He's also pretty solid, so you got to push him. He's he kind of bounce off him a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fairly sure you know how to mosh.
Yes, unfortunately, I find myself preoccupied. I'm here to invite you to dinner with the captain of the Apache.
I'm sure that's quite the invitation. Are we leaving now?
Feel free to run to your quarters and freshen up. Two very different events.
Formal.
Not terribly, but more formal than this.
I did not pack much formal. I was prepared to be sitting in a bunker for a year and a half.
I'm sure that'll do.
She'll reach over and pat Yezbeth's shoulder.
Yezbeth looks grief-stricken at that you're leaving.
Don't worry. Well, am I staying over there? She's looking back at the captain.
I don't believe so. You will be transferred to the Apache in the coming days, but I'm not sure the arrangements that they've made for you.
Of course. I'll be back. Don't stop having fun. Have some experiences. She'll pat her shoulder and then make her way out.
She gives you a fond smile, and then it gets gets like shoved to the side by the mosh before she can say anything. Perfect. Seems like a good place to wrap that up.
Mm-hmm. So the two of them are heading off. About the time that they're leaving would be a good time to do the slow dance moment, and then that'll give the captain and Tara time to get changed. The crew. What you got?
Could we do one quick side flash?
Yeah.
Kostra is in the engine room. All the other engineers are partying, so he's there by himself, and he's loving it. He's got his feet up. He's got his feet up on the console. He's going, this is the life. And then the captain chimes and just go ahead and invite him to dinner. The communicator. I mean,
communicator. Okay.
Yeah.
Ambrose to Chief Kostra.
Kostra here.
The Apache has just reached orbit. You are hereby formally invited to a senior officer dinner.
God damn it, motherfucker. God fuck damn it. Oh, sorry, Captain. I forgot to untouch my communicator. All right, I'll be there. See you at the transporter room.
Chirp.
All right. Jump back to that slow dance moment because we had two people who probably end up slow dancing here.
Yeah.
I think they're both Brian and Jen and the captain there. Not the captain, but you know what I mean.
Captain Tom.
Jack. That's
Captain
what I'm going
Tom.
for. Captain, it's, you know what? In a future, if we do a future episode, like an episode where you guys go to the future, it may happen.
Is Mills dancing with someone?
She was moshing before the.
Yeah, she was moshing with Yezbeth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, is she slow dancing with someone? Like, maybe just a random crew member or.
Maybe.
Okay.
She orders someone, you come here, stand here.
I mean, I gotta imagine there are people in the crew who want to get with Mills. She seems like a confident lady. But Yezebeth is glad to not be on the dance floor.
Right.
But so, yeah, Delphine is has her arms around Jiss's waist. She says, so you definitely seem to be enjoying yourself out there earlier.
Yes, I was. Jesus looking down at her big booted feet, making sure not to step on Delphine.
You'd be fine as long as you let me lead. I know you're used to being in charge, but let me have just 5 seconds. I promise you it'll be worth.
Fine. How do I? Like it's real stiff.
Just relax. Just relax. She's going to say, how are you doing? You've been pretty tense since that mission with where you were since you got lost behind the wormhole.
Oh, that was nothing. Stranded on a bored planet. fisticuffs with a giant saber-toothed tiger thing.
I almost believe you.
No, both of those are true.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, I almost believe that you're fine.
Here, I got the Scarta.
I got stabbed right here.
Let's save that for later, shall we? All right. Well, maybe you enjoyed it more than I thought you did. Was it? I know you don't get much time to do ground side things. Did it feel good?
I prefer the thrill of the cockpit a little bit more to outrunning assimilation in a sandstorm and a broken ship. I did power the shuttle with a phaser. That was fun.
Oh, good. What do you think's going to happen? Go ahead.
I'm not much of a babysitter.
No, can't imagine you are.
There's leading away missions, and then there's being a babysitter.
I suppose that's true. Do you have any idea what's going to happen with there's rumors about that mission didn't go so well.
Didn't go so well. We're all back. I don't have any metal bits growing out of me. It's going all right.
Good. I was pretty worried about you when I heard you were lost. I even tried to talk my way into the conference room to try to get onto the away mission to rescue you if there was going to be one.
Mm.
Captain did not care for that.
Well, I appreciate it either way. You'll go down to a Borg planet 70,000 light years away, but you won't push people around. You don't get up and she lets go and kind of and then puts her hands back.
Do you mean you're like ending the dance?
Just for a second.
No, she was kind of like transferring to something a bit more energetic, and then that's fine.
Yeah.
It goes back and
Fair point. Maybe fair point. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit stuck in my ways, I guess.
Gotta get your blood flowing. This is not going to keep us warm. No. Not that that's really much of a concern here.
No, I suppose not. But I see what you mean.
Gotta be a bit more exciting on Andoria. It's fucking cold.
Well, I don't plan on going to Andoria anytime soon. She realizes that might be a sensitive thing. And she says, well, I mean, we hadn't talked about it, at least. My husband's on Denobula.
Right. It's not terribly far. I mean, it's far from here. It's not terribly far from there.
Yeah, I suppose we could see each other every so often.
I'm not being transferred to anything anytime soon unless you know something I don't.
No, I don't. I'm simply thinking long term, I guess.
Right. Yeah, long term. I'm sure it'll work out.
She notices how skeptically you say that, and she says, I think I've kept you at this dance long enough. Maybe, if you'll excuse me, I believe that there's a bottle of Chateau Picard still waiting for me at the bar.
French. All right.
So she'll,
I think Jisa like stands there as Delphine walks off, just like looking around at a bunch of other people slow dancing, and just like really like awkwardly moves between these people away, like in the opposite direction. Not really certain where she's going. Probably goes and finds Silva.
I think Silva's dancing with Tom right now.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, she's looking around for Silva, and
I think Silva's laughing a little, and she's like, so you're saying that Ferengi females dance naked, all of them, all the time?
Well, I guess not all of the time anymore. Not really anymore. I was just it's a strange time on Ferenginar.
It's fine. I'm just saying it's a little bit of a waste, given that when you dance, the dress is moving is half the fun.
Oh no, I agree. You can be very artistically, aesthetically, interesting in various clothing types. Yes.
Oh, I look interesting in various clothing types, you say?
You look good. You look good,
Tom.
Right.
It's okay. You're doing great. You really are. I'm having a great time. You can relax a little.
Right.
I imagine Jesus sees that from across the as she's going to approach. Is Jesus going to interrupt her or just kind of go away?
No, Jesus is just going to turn around and find somebody.
Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, she's got her flight crew pals, so she'll go hang out with somebody, I'm sure.
Right.
Sure.
Go find somebody who isn't slow dancing and mosh them a little bit. All right.
Probably just like at this point, probably just like sit and drink and complain.
Right. Or is that
Mills will see Jisa as she's passing back and pull away from whatever crewman she's dancing with, just to kind of like lightly grab her arm. Hey, you good?
Hey, yeah.
You look a little out of sorts.
Oh, yeah. That's not really my scene.
Looked like you're seen a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm trying something new.
New can be good.
Yeah, I'm all for new.
The songs change up and something not heavy metal or ska or anything like that, but something a little bit faster pace picks up.
You mean some swing?
Yeah, something a little bit faster pace, but not, moshy pity.
Some Saurian swing.
Mm-hmm. You want a drink? I'm heading to the bar.
Yeah, sure. I'll come with. And she will spin her partner off and use the momentum to push herself off toward the bar.
Koba will 100% catch her partner and begin dancing with him.
I imagine the person's face just kind of is awash with
this is not what I signed up for.
Yeah, with non-expectations as Koba starts flinging them around in swing dance.
Bait and switch. Man.
What are you talking about? Koba's a delight.
Koba's a big guy and pretty much could probably make anybody swing dance whether they wanted to or not.
100%.
Or whether they knew how to dance or not, I suppose. All right. So while they're heading off to the bar to get Mills and for Mills and Juicy to get more inebriated, Ambrose, Tasavi, Les, and Kostra all head to the transporter bay, transporter room, and I imagine no one's wearing dress uniforms or anything, but something relatively semi.
Oh, I thought we were supposed to wear dress uniforms.
I think it was business casual was the desire here. So maybe Coaster shows up in his dress uniform anyway.
Yeah,
the
That'd be great.
Betazoid urge to wear Betazoid formal.
I thought we were wearing dress
the
uniforms.
haughty captain's frickin' dinner.
Yeah, so Dasavi's probably dressed pretty nice, and Coaster's wearing his dress uniforms. His dress uniform.
Got the hair all up in the adornment.
Coaster looks at everybody else like he's been betrayed because he's the one wearing it.
You look fine, Coaster. It still fits. Comes over and like straightens out the lapels.
You know, when I retire,
Sorry, go ahead.
When I finally retire, I'm going to burn this thing. Throw it
Sabi
in.
gives him the mom lick thumb on a spot of grease.
Still wearing the headband and the greasy face. Didn't clean, just put on a uniform.
100%.
All right. You guys beam over. And you're greeted by an Andorian security officer. And he said, he looks, Captain Ambrose, it's good to see you. The captain is waiting. If you don't mind, follow me. Welcome aboard the Apache. Your record, as you guys being and walking, I've followed your career for some time, Captain. You are one of the reasons I got into Starfleet. Your time during the Dominion War is well documented, and I wanted to say thank you.
Just doing my job as a Starfleet officer. There were a lot of fine folks in that war. A lot of important people.
Yes. Well, as you may know, the ship spent its time in duty there. Although Captain Tanover, his record is exemplary, but he was not aboard this ship. Relatively new to the ship, and we haven't quite come to understand him yet.
Every new commanding officer has his own style. You don't get to that chair without deserving it.
Of course. I didn't mean to insinuate anything otherwise.
Of course.
As you're walking through the halls, you know that the ship is maintained, but there's definitely a lack of uniformed discipline. Like the people are a little bit sloppier than you would normally see on a ship like this. It's an Excelsior. It's an older ship, but it's still, serviceable by for sure. But there's definitely a lack of hard discipline. Like some uniforms are a little out of sorts and things like that. Nothing like grossly insubordinate or anything, but less ship shape than some Starfleet captains like. You get to the captain's mess, which is on deck 7. Well, if you'll excuse me, Captain, I have things to deal with. The captain is waiting for you.
Of course. Thank you for the escort.
Of course. As you enter the room, it's an overpowering smell of foods. Like there are just, they almost don't mix. Like they do just, like walking through a Renaissance fair when you're walking past the food booths. It's just, there's like 100 different kinds of food. None of them are good for you. But they're all probably going to be pretty good, even though their smells do not mix particularly well. in the back of the room, there is actually a kitchen, and there's a person serving, like actually making food, cooking the actual food. And there's a bit of a wait staff. There's 3 people doing the actual moving food out to the table. The captain is sitting at the head of the table. He's a big guy, as I said before, and he's wearing his uniform, but he's got an actual bib tucked into his top of his uniform to keep any food off of it. There's a fair amount of food on the table. He doesn't have anything. He isn't eating anything yet, but as well as them, as well as the captain, I should say, there's also 2 other officers, both human. It's the XO and the chief medical officer, as well as one. We had Vren going too, didn't we? Vren,
Yeah.
as well as another Vulcan who's there, who is a science officer, probably their lead science officer. The captain doesn't stand up, but the XO does. The captain kind of waves, Captain Ambrose, welcome, come. And the XO stands up and comes around the edge of the table and goes to shake your hand, offers to shake your hand.
Yeah.
Captain Ambrose, welcome to the Apache.
Thank you. Captain, it's a pleasure to be invited. I've brought with me, of course, my first officer and CMO, Dr. DeSavioniet, Chief of Engineering, Mr. Kostra, and you have heard of Dr. Tarles and Dr. Varen, who will be joining you.
Yes, excuse me, this is my executive officer, Mr. Matt Vorns, VORNS. My chief science officer, to call. I gotta write these down because I'm making it up as I go. My chief medical officer, Amanda Winters. We'll do that. I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
And that's all of them, right? That's all of.
Yep.
That's Captain. I had that a second ago. Captain Tover.
Oh, Conover, yeah.
Conover, yep. Bolian. My chief medical officer, Amanda Winters, my chief science officer, Takal, and my executive officer, Matt Forns. Please have a seat. The chef, as he kind of raises his hand up and snaps his fingers. The chef will bring you anything you want, Captain, assuming that we've made it. And we could replicate things for you as well, but replicated food aboard this ship. Not aboard my ship, I tell you.
You've put together quite a spread here. It's a luxury I'm not used to. The Europa has a limited crew, and a personal chef was not among them.
Well, if you need one, I've got a sous chef over here who's looking to promote.
Perhaps. Let's see what they've prepared then.
Bring. They start bringing out just gobs of plates of food just everywhere on top of the food that's already there. The captain grabs a large shank of some kind of animal because I saw that earlier and I'm going to do it. Just takes a big bite out of it and starts mowing on it, it's dripping down his face onto his bib. So, Captain, and Dr. Les, and all, tell me about this. Well, before we get to business, tell me what it's been like to be out in this expanse. I haven't been on exploration missions in some time. They've got me doing diplomatic convoy missions and things like that.
Certainly an interesting area. It's a welcome reprieve, getting back to exploration for exploration's sake. And there's plenty new to see out here.
I've read some reports. I'm interested in meeting the I'd like a chance at some point to meet these the Bonanue people. They sound remarkable.
Yes, I believe you may get along with them. They know how to throw a feast.
Excellent. Maybe I'll get some chance to get out that way sometime once this mess here on an Imel is resolved. I've read that I've seen reports recently that there are a lot of colonists moving into the area. Have you had any trouble with them yet?
No, not particularly. We escorted a convoy over to the Hollerun station that is being repurposed. Mostly, they are sticking to the places that we've already checked out. By the time they get there, we've moved on to the next place.
That's good. Colonists always make exploration harder.
How so?
They always get in the way of things. They're making contact outside of protocol and finding worlds and terraforming them without telling anyone and setting up these colonies in territories that we're going to have to cede to Cardassians at some point. That kind of thing.
Well, the Federation does seem to foster an air of exploration, doesn't it?
As it should. They should leave the exploration to the experts, people like you and I, Captain. Yes.
It takes a very determined, very hardy individual to go out and homestead a strange new world on your own, away from civilization, prefab facilities, living off the land. It does sound like an adventure.
That's true. He takes a big bite out of the thing and kind of tears it off, and bits of juice go flying everywhere.
Perhaps not everyone that should settle a world should be soldiers.
No, not settling, just exploring. When they find themselves in a world that is not yet made or determined to be suitable by Starfleet, then Starfleet almost inevitably has to go do some kind of rescue mission, and it takes away from the further exploration and the essential duties of Starfleet, which is to protect the people that are already here, that are already working within the framework that the Federation has laid out. Starfleet could save a lot of time by not having to go and rescue all these people all the time.
We'll remember that next time you send a distressing.
He kind of laughs. And the missions they've got me on, chances are not very high that I will need distress, that I will be in any kind of serious distress. This ship has seen a lot of combat. Well, one never knows. It's true. This ship has seen a lot of combat. It's well tested. Under the previous captain, Captain Genevieve Marceau, the ship served in the 77th Tactical Wing during the Dominion War. It saw quite a great deal of combat.
I'm familiar with the name. Quite a service record.
Yes. Yes, well, she moved on, up in rank and moving around, and could never get me out of this seat. As he wiggles himself, and the seat kind of just moves with him, like it doesn't. He's not moving in the seat so much as the seat and he are moving together.
I enjoy seeing these older ships still in service, punching above their weight class.
I was hoping she would get a refit, but she's scheduled for decommission by the end of, I believe, next year, being replaced by one of those Akiras.
That's a shame. There's a lot of history in these old hulls.
This ship is almost 100 years old, Captain. You'd be lucky if the Europa can make it that long.
Yes, the Europa has so many new technical parts such exact specifications that need to be maintained. They don't fly like those old Mirandas.
Yeah.
Some of those are 200 years old at this point?
They're getting up there. My first command was a Miranda. I liked that
Fine
ship.
ship.
I imagine
Fine
that
ships.
your chief engineer here, though, Mr. Kostra, is keeping the Europa quite ship shape.
Oh yeah, she's purring like a dream.
We have a fine engineering crew. Like I said, a lot of exacting specifications, but we keep them maintained.
Well, I'm Googling something real quick because I actually want to know how old the Miranda classes are. I know they're up there. 23rd century is all it really says. 2260s, so they're a little over 120 years old.
Is that all? Okay.
130? 110, 100 and something like that. They're old.
Mm-hmm.
That's assuming that that's accurate, but Tell me though, about these people. As he takes a spoonful of some kind of potatoy looking thing. Tell me about this Emil, this world of Emil, the Dr. Was Varn is his name?
Ren.
Vren is that doctor.
Then.
Ven, yes. Anyways, tell me about what is going on here. I've read the reports, obviously, but it's best to hear from you.
Well, we were having an observation mission, and he seemed to have lost the plot of it and decided to bond himself with one of the symbiotes on the planet.
These symbiotes are like the Trill symbiotes, yes?
They are similar, but they are capable of coming above land.
Oh. Gross. I mean, excuse me. I don't know much about the Trill. What I do know is unfit for someone of my position. I find them to be somewhat, nothing offense to you, Doctor, but unnerving. The two things living together. I don't understand it.
Ren's there doing the Vulcan fork in a piece of like a bun, cutting it with just perpetual Vulcan eyebrow. Yeah.
The other Vulcan is just kind of watching everything. He's not even hardly eating. He's got a couple of what you're guessing are vegetables chopped very finely. And he's occasionally taking a bite of one.
Costco will say, well, it's a good thing they picked you for this mission then, huh?
Well, they picked my crew for this mission. I am here to ensure the safety of the Federation. Dr. Takal here is the expert on first contact. Takal just kind of raises his eyebrow. Indeed.
Well, if I'm going to be quite frank, I think would be very difficult for you to understand if you already think that it's gross in some aspect.
He kind of wiggles the meat stick that he had in his hand. Of course, and I didn't mean to offend you. It was not my intention. It's a fascinating species, the Trill. I just don't understand them. That is again why Dr. Takal is here. But the more I can know, perhaps, as the Federation says, the more you know, the more likely you are to, I don't know what the phrase is, but infinite diversity and all of that. I appreciate it and I respect it. But it takes some time to become accustomed to those kinds of things. You understand?
Yes, I do. And she forces a bit of a smile before continuing on. They are incapable of leaving their atmosphere at the moment. They are dependent on a certain radiation coming from the planet.
That should make it fairly easy to contain them in the event of any kind of gross contamination from the doctor's fine work, yes?
Well, if it weren't for the fact that they have his knowledge and technology, then yes.
I hear they adapt quickly, though, as well. There's something about their people are advancing at a.
They are evolving rapidly. At least the section of them that are joined are evolving rapidly. The other section of them are evolving at a very regular pace.
Yeah. To call, looks at the Vren. Is it your findings that these creatures, the symbiotes, are evolving as well, or are they simply causing evolution of the host species? Not looking at Dr. Less, so.
From my cursory examination of the various findings here, it seems that the symbionts are directing the evolution of their hosts, but in doing so have to adapt themselves. I believe their change is much slighter than the change to the host. It's my theory, though not one I've been able to test in any meaningful manner, that they are attempting to achieve some perhaps even yet understood final form, more suited for this world and their ambitions. Dr. Less here and the team on the planet would have far more information on that subject, the Emil in general.
Fascinating. Dr. Less, you've studied these creatures for some time.
I have.
Make sure I get the right voice there. What is your evaluation of the symbiotes' evolutionary capabilities of their own? Do you believe that they would have any opportunity, either technologically or physically, to be able to leave this planet in the next? Looks at his hand and kind of does a quick calculation on his fingertips. 5 to 7 years.
Yes, I do believe they would, at the rate that they are currently evolving. They are currently changing their hosts on a biological level while inside of them. They are not waiting for the next generation.
Well, perhaps we should be focused then. Looks to the captain. If you don't mind, Captain, I would like to begin preparations from my team. The captain kind of wiggles his meat stick around again. That's Vulcans for you. Always working hard. Always diligent people. Go, Tikal. You're not going to be enjoying your food anyways. Go. Tikal kind of just not in any kind of emotional way, but some kind of you definitely get the impression that he is not thrilled with his captain's leadership techniques. Just kind of raises his
racism.
Right, raises his eyebrow a little bit and stands. If you will excuse me, Captain, Doctor, Chief, Doctor, and then he exits. Let's jump back to the party real quick. Things have been going there for quite some time. Probably starting to wind down a little bit, although I'm sure Koba is trying to keep people staying, pushing them back in the room. No, dance more.
Yeah, Koba is like, this party doesn't die until somebody kills it.
Because meeting is quite the phrase. Yes, a few people have probably snuck out or moved to the side rooms for quieter
After
spaces and after party kind of things. And
plus, I think it's safe to say the synthahol is getting to us, unless we have been trying. Well,
right.
now,
For those of you who aren't drinking actual alcohol, but the nice thing about the synthahol is you can always just do away with it. You kind of like
they're kind of vague on whether synthahol actually gets you drunk. Sometimes it does, and then sometimes it doesn't.
So there's an episode where they talk about it, that the synthahol gets you drunk, but it's something that you can, in the event that you have to, kind of focus through it.
Yeah, they definitely mention like pills that get rid of like drunkenness instantly.
Right.
But yeah, anyway. My point is, if you've been drinking, you're probably drunk by this point.
Yes. Some level of inebriation or intoxication.
Yeah, I think Koba is definitely one of them.
Yeah. But things, again, like the people are beginning to pair off, or just in general, things are slowing down, and a lot of people are moving off. The staff of the forward lounge are doing a lot of cleanup, so there's a lot of plate clinking, but the band is still going. Whatever you've got playing is still, I mean, they're synthetic, so they can go on all this, for as long as you want. Does anybody have anything they want to do? This is probably something, I wouldn't mind seeing something with Kendall, and she came and hasn't done much.
Yeah. Is there anybody else who hasn't done anything? I think, what's his name? The counselor. Yeah. Renewal?
Oh.
But we don't see often at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I threw him in the party because he's lower deck,
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to see him?
No.
If not, I'm fine with somebody else. I just don't know who else it would be.
Yeah, I don't know about Renewal. We can establish that character, but I think that character needs to be established before he gets into anything like this.
Yeah, he's been on a couple of scenes, but he's only had, I think, 2 or 3 scenes the whole show.
Yeah.
He's just kind of over. He's one of the ones leaving early.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very sociable person. He's probably talking to a whole bunch of other people.
Right.
I mentioned it, but where did you land? What do you think about Kendall and Jisa getting into a little bit of a fight?
Oh,
that's one way to kill a party.
Yeah, I'm down.
Also gives Mills something to do.
Mm-hmm.
Although I will say I don't want it to reflect badly on the party. I don't want this to end up being, we never should have had a party.
No.
So let me just put that out there.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, we can do that.
We don't phaser holes in the ship or anything.
Right. So I think Kendall she's got crew members she gets along with. They're probably just not named crew members. Right. So she is talking with them, and she sees Jissa, and she's just like staring daggers at her. And I think it'd be easy for Jissa to notice.
Well, I think at this point, Jesus had quite a few, especially
not
after
necessarily just synthahol.
Not just synthahol. No, she brought her own stock if she needed to, and especially after the whole Delphine thing. And I'm sure they've kind of like went back and forth, tried conversations, but Jesus sort of moving about various people and probably striking up conversation. Maybe Mills is even there in this group talking about various away missions and other things that are going on. And the topic again of that last one comes up, and Jisa in her drunk loud party voice is exclaiming how she's not a babysitter. I had to sit with these 2 little junior officers, one so fresh out of Starfleet, out of the academy, you could smell the cadet on her. It was a mess. She got all pouty because the ship crashed and she thought she was going to be in charge. I'm telling you, the Borg, they would have laughed at that shit.
Were you thinking that she goes up and picks a fight with Jissa over this? Because I don't know if that's something Kendall would do.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the two characters are not compatible in the way.
It might be like an interesting a verbal confrontation to start with, and then like I don't see Kendall starting a physical assault, but I could almost certainly see Kendall doing some verbal.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Okay.
But
I mean, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with like I was kind of expecting when you brought it up, like Jissa would go to her and start shit.
I think we're starting. I think what he's doing is setting up the
Right, laying out the scene.
Yeah.
just setting it up as in the this is the stuff that she's doing. Kendall is, how does Kendall react to that, and then moving from there? Because I see Jisa absolutely being someone who would go start a fight, but is Kendall going to let her just talk crap like that in front of all of her friends and whatnot?
I would think, and Brian, you can tell me if I'm off base or not, but I would think, especially if Jisa goes into like something along the lines of like, she got so whiny that I had to phaser her to keep her from going off and killing herself. I mean, that's just a Saturday night in Victoria.
I mean, that still doesn't seem like something that where she would go to.
Right, but from where you're sitting.
All right, how about so she gets up and
I can bring it to you if you need me to bring it to you.
She's headed to the door and she like elbows Jissa. Like she's mad. She's not going to start shit, but she's also not particularly concerned about
sort of a passive aggressive.
Definitely passive.
Like the shoulder.
Yeah, the
shoulder to shoulder thing.
She bumps into her kind of purposefully as she passes.
Jesus going to stand up and take a few quick steps forward and just, again, very, very heavy full body weight, just like hand over, like arm over the shoulder, in that friendly, like bully playful way, like not quite a headlock, but a little bit more elbow than you would really want. There's my favorite little move. Cadet. We were just talking about you. You having fun?
I think Kendall like grabs at her arm and is like kind of pulling it, but like just is way stronger than her. So she's like, "Look, I'm done for the evening. I've had enough fun."
Yeah, you little ones, they don't break you in like they used to. And she'll let go and like pat her on the back. All right, go take another nap.
For the record, she walks up. She takes a couple steps, and she turns around and points at Jissa, saying it loud enough that the rest of her can hear. Just so you know, she will shoot you in the back if you turn away from her.
Things start to slow down, and people are starting to now watch.
I did you a favor, honey. You were walking off into the desert.
I was trying to fix the ship like you did not 3 hours later.
Yeah, but I didn't have to go faceplant in the sand to do it.
I only faceplanted because you shot me.
Phaser's quicker than heat in exhaustion. We're saving us both some time. Might have lost you if you got more than 20 paces out.
Jissa, I've submitted a complaint directly to Starfleet, and I hope you get dismissed.
Yeah, we'll see if this one sticks.
If it doesn't, I'm out. If it doesn't, I don't think I think it better, because I think by the end of this, one of us is going to no longer be in Starfleet.
Well, she spins around back to flight team et al. Well, we blew the hell out of a whole bunch of Jem'Hadar, and you take naps on away missions, so we'll let the record speak for itself. Right, fellas?
There's some awkward
nobody else is comfortable with this.
Yeah, there's some awkward, like, yeah, Yeah. You should probably have a seat, Jisa.
And yeah, she'll go over to like one of the flight crew engineers and like slouch down.
I would like to use a value.
Sure.
Kendall has the value. Cannot let it out, right?
Sure.
I'm going to let her let it out.
So you're going to challenge the value.
Yeah, I'm challenging the value. So what I'd like to do, Kendall doesn't have the empathy talent.
Right, but I mean, you're spending a determination, or you have a determination to spend in a non-combat scene. I mean, even if you were to do combat with it, like I'm willing to say, if you want to do something special that you wouldn't normally be able to do, you're challenging the first time in any campaign I've ever run where someone is challenging their.
I would just like to give Jissa a bloody nose.
Psychically.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to make sure it was psychic and not like you're running up and punching her.
No.
Okay.
Psychic. I don't think it's purposeful, but I think it's definitely happening. If you're okay with that, Jack.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So you get the look on Kendall's face that she.
Yeah. What does that look like?
Go ahead. Describe your face, and I'll describe the rest.
Yeah. So like her psychic powers are her empathic powers have been directed inward, but I think she's going to like stop. This is causing her so much stress, and she's like staring at you, and it's not visible, but like whatever is in her brain is coming out, and it is going right through her directed thoughts towards Jissa and filling her brain with
well, I'll take that part, but
take that part.
Yeah, you've got this look on her face where it's just that carry level of rage, the almost impotent rage, when Jisa starts feeling a lot of pressure on the front of her, frontal cortex, like the part of your brain that makes you have emotion and personality. After a few seconds, you actually start to feel almost a bit of a headache, and then you can feel the little bit of blue blood trickling out of your nose. And one of the other flight guys says, "Jisa," and points to your face real quick.
But there's no outward sign that this is
just the super anger, and like you can see that she's staring at you with that like 11. She's not no handout, but that like 11 from Stranger Things.
Okay.
Like it doesn't even look like she's intentionally like boring a hole into your brain necessarily, but like clearly she's extremely mad. It wouldn't be hard to put 2 and 2 together necessarily.
Yeah, I think it's up to you whether you figure out that she's doing it or not.
I mean, I think it would be more interesting if it was obvious that this was some sort of assault.
Then go with it. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, what does that look like from Kendall's end, though? I mean, if you're just standing there angry, I don't know how. Sure, you're Betazoid, but I mean, even Betazoids get angry in people's headstones.
Yeah, I really don't think it's something she's doing purposely. She's not like outstretching hand.
Yeah.
Like I think this is.
I would almost say you could see her doing that, like the shaking in her eyes, or have because you're only half Betazoid, right?
Yeah.
She's full.
Oh, wait, is that okay? But you can definitely see like that look. I mean, it's not hard to figure out that whatever Kendall is, her rage is causing this issue. Like it wouldn't be hard at all to figure that out. She's kind of stationary. She's clearly staring directly at you.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I think you could feel it. Like,
yeah. Okay.
Mm.
You might even get some flashes of like thought from.
Yeah. No, I think there's a brief like she goes and like really grabs her forehead and pinches the top of her nose and wipes her bloody nose on her arm. All right, there we go, girl. You have to rely on that Betazoid mind powers of yours, sure, but we do things a little bit more direct here. And she stands up. You want to play?
I think Mills will stand up and try to like shake off the booze. Hey, hang on. Where'd that nurse go?
Do we want to recreate the Starship Troopers scene? Flight versus infantry, because Jisa will body tackle her if we want to go that far. But we don't have to go that far.
I like the idea of Jisa getting ready to make that lunge and Mills intercepting. So it doesn't actually get to the point where there's actual physical contact.
Okay.
Because physical contact means that you got to get upper decks involved.
Yeah.
Which we could do, but I like
the interception is very drunken, wobbly interception.
What were you say, Jack?
No, Jisa will. We're all out of uniforms. There's no rank here. You want to dance? We can dance. And she cracks her knuckles and she lunges, but Mills.
Right.
Kendall will point and yell, and she'll say, "If I had a phaser, I'd treat you like you treated me."
You'd have to hit me first.
And now I think that's when Mills interferes.
Yeah. So either way, Mills is there. Stops Jisa from, quite possibly gutting Kendall.
Yeah.
Right.
She boozily uprights herself from the bar she's been leaning on and grabs Jisa's shoulder from behind. Look, we're not in uniform. We're still on the ship. That's Exo's kid. You don't want to mess with that shit.
Yeah, don't want to mess with the baby girl. This was just getting fun. I was with the babysitter. I'm just gonna stumbly push Mills to the side. And
look, you want to fight? We can go load up a hollow. I'll be a way better fight than the rookie.
What is Kendall doing? As Jisa's going back to sit down with her people.
Kendall begins walking towards her, and she's pointing angrily, and she's saying, "She should be locked up in the brig. She shouldn't be out here." And I think Koba comes up to her and is just "Whoa, we're all having fun here.
Go back to the playground, cadet."
She said. Koba shoves her away, and she goes, "Fine, I'm leaving. You win again, Jisa." And then she goes out.
Nothing matters more than the win.
As Kendall's going out the door.
Yeah.
Nice, interesting conversation between Jisa and Kendall. Kendall has left the bar.
And just to put out there, we're all good. We are not our characters. We play our characters, but it's just good to say on a show.
Yes.
Sure.
I know. It's tough being mean. I don't like doing it.
I love being mean.
I love being mean.
Being is fun.
All right. Back aboard the other ship. That little party thing is winding down also. The XO has been, the captain has been continuing on in the same fashion that he had been. You got to talking about the stuff going on the mill and Dominion War and all that kind of stuff. And
I think Ambrose would try to steer the conversation away from the war whenever it comes back up, and he'll tie it into other things that have been going on here. Probably not terribly noticeable to other people, except perhaps Dasabi. Right. But he definitely steers the conversation away from the from anything Borg or Dominion.
Right.
Yeah, Dasabi will help him with that, because I imagine he's about as tactful about the war with two veterans in the room as he is about Trill and the Emil and everything else.
You would note as empaths that he is a veteran of the war. He obviously served during the war. Everybody did. But he's every time he brings it up, he's definitely trying to self-aggrandize, because you get the impression that he didn't really do a whole lot. Like, he was probably logistics or something along those lines. Mm-hmm. He wasn't a combat captain. So he's trying to do a little bit of that self-aggrandizement. And since you're both considered, well, at least certainly Ambrose is a decorated officer, and I think Dasavi was too. Yep. He's trying to kind of not false valor, stolen valor, you guys, but sort of that deal.
Like Hey, I'm one of the cool kids.
Right.
Respect me.
As things begin to wind down, the doctor, someone calls, there's a minor medical emergency in sick bay. Someone's broken their leg. The doctor excuses herself. Dr. Dasavi, it was good to meet you. I look forward to reading more of your papers coming up. I've heard there was an interesting surgical procedure, and I'm looking forward to seeing any papers you produce on that. I'm interested in xenobiology as a specialty of mine.
Quite interesting. Mine as well. In fact, if you'd like to chat, I could accompany you to the med bay. I'm certain you're more than capable of managing a broken leg.
She kind of side eyes the captain, and he's clearly wrapped up in whatever it is he's doing. Looks back at you. Of course, please. An extra set of hands wouldn't hurt, assuming that's okay with you. Looking to Ambrose.
Certainly.
Oh, sick bay's this way.
Dasavi will follow.
You get the impression from the Beta Z connection there that she is happy that this is over for her and that the captain she's no longer in the captain's presence, kind of thing. You guys get the impression the entire time that the captain is oblivious, but the crew is very patient with his eccentricities, but they're not really like in love with this guy. Like he's a captain of a Starfleet vessel. He's clearly capable, but he's kind of no one really likes him.
He's not beloved.
Right. Your captain is quite the character.
He's a good person. He may not always come across that way, but
he's a bit brash.
He genuinely has the crew's best interest at heart. Or at least he's always acted that way. He may not always speak that way.
I wouldn't be sending him on any diplomatic missions anytime soon, but
not his specialty. No, he's logistics. He was logistics for many years. He served at Starfleet Command for some time as a logistics engineer for a logistics officer for during the war. A lot of moving people and parts around. He sees a lot of things, I think, as numbers rather than as individuals.
See that?
But he wouldn't be here if he hadn't earned it, I'm sure.
No doubt.
A lot of this crew misses our previous captain. She was something else. Something much like, I believe, your Captain Ambrose.
It can be difficult losing a captain, even when your new captain is capable of filling the shoes of your former captain. And she kind of looks off a little, mildly verklempt.
Yeah, that doesn't take much. The Dr. Winters is like, oh, I didn't even think you the Europa left with Captain Hage. I'm sorry for your loss.
Appreciated. He died saving the ship, which is what he would have wanted. Clearly what he did want. And, well, the most fortunate bit is we were able to save his symbiont, so
yes,
he's not entirely gone.
A young, I don't remember the name, but a young ensign that was aboard ship.
Yesbeth.
Yesbeth, yes. I believe that was, I'm not sure that was in your report or not, but the surgical procedure, the report you wrote for that, the paper on that was also interesting. I do follow your career somewhat. You are, there's a lot of people aboard this ship that long to be aboard the Europa.
It is a coveted position,
yes,
to be sure.
A ship of true exploration. It must be nice to be able to get back to the business of Starfleet, as it was put. Bit of a shame that there's not more more space aboard a Titan class. How is it to work with the AI?
Eva is unique. We've had quite the sort of moral and ethical discussions around her ability to think for herself, supposed to put it. Having a ship that can practically predict your every need, that can certainly think faster than any of the humanoid life forms aboard ship. That's quite the blessing.
Well, if there's ever an opening aboard ship, maybe I will. If you ever decide to retire, Doctor, let me know.
I will keep you in mind. What is it the Apache's doing when it's not?
Well, under this new captain, we have been largely doing, under Captain Tanover, we've been doing mostly diplomatic missions. We've been, I don't want to say second contact kind of situations, but a lot of backfilling the diplomacy of the research vessels, the Mackinac and the Europa and things like that. We were recently assigned here from the 8th Fleet. Well, this is the 8th Fleet still, but we were assigned from near the border with the Romulans and the Klingons when Captain Marceau was promoted, and we were moved out here to do that kind of thing. And we've only been doing this for maybe a month and a half, maybe 2 months. We're looking forward to being able to do a lot more of the diplomacy that perhaps your crew wasn't able to facilitate, but due to your constraints of exploration, it's still similar to there's definitely a place for what we do. I like being able to have contact with all these new species and learning about them, but it's not quite the same as being on the cutting edge, the razor's edge of exploration, which is what many of us joined Starfleet for, right?
True.
I know Dr. Takal is a specialist in first contact, and he's been doing a lot of, he's been dealing with the Lemurians and cultures like that were exposed, that were exposed to Federation technologies earlier. The Emil situation does offer a unique challenge for all of us, though, and I'm looking forward to taking it on.
It does. I'm on the one hand, I'm always up for a good challenge. On the other hand, I don't entirely envy the delicate position of trying to salvage what's been done while also tempering their advancements so they don't burn themselves out in the process.
Yes. But that is the challenge before us. Hopefully we can manage it.
You will, no doubt. Starfleet wouldn't have sent you if they didn't think they could.
Of course. And the Apache has a good crew. We'll once we get, I think, settled in with our new captain, everything will go quite swimmingly. You have had Dr. Les aboard your ship for a little while. She is, to my knowledge, being reassigned here. I've got the crew manifest updates. I'm looking forward to having a chance to work with someone who has been studying these people for some time. My focus is xenobiology. And there are a few species that fascinate more than those that are symbiotic, either directly symbiotic like the Trill or semi-symbiotic, like a baleen whale and fish. I can't think of the name of the fish right now. My bad. But you know what I mean. The symbiotic. It's definitely something fascinating to me. And while the captain may have his own opinions, I'm not sure how much of that isn't bravado. And I'm looking forward to a chance to. I've never met a Trill. So I'm looking forward to it.
They are a very unique people with a very rich culture. The ability to learn firsthand about your ancestors is enviable at times. I'm certain also quite difficult.
The idea of being able to pass down information from one generation to another is actually something that I'm working on. Through computer technologies, being able to upload your information. It's a derivative of Dr. Ira Hayes's. Ira Hayes, yes. Yes. His work. Ira Hayes is not the correct name. But I've been working on his research that he'd had at the time of his death. It's interesting.
It is.
The transferal of one's neurosentience into a computer.
Graves.
Dr. Graves. Ira Graves, that's the word. I was close. Ira Hayes was a Native American who fought at Iwo Jima. Dr. Ira Graves' work, I find it fascinating, and I think it would be an interesting concept, especially with the technologies that we're reaching with the positronic nets that we're putting into computers these days, or the experimental work of Dr. Maddox with Europa, to be able to transfer our own knowledge, our own consciousness into another empty vessel, or even just to be able to load it into a machine and have that lifetime of experience and be able to pass it to the next generation, or even just have it available to be scanned while we're still alive. I think it has a lot of potential.
It does. It does. So much gets lost in the nuance of recording and memory after the fact. Significant amount of benefit to that.
Yes. Well, as I said, I look forward to reading more of your papers, and this is sick bay. If you wish to help setting a leg, you're more than welcome. If not, I'm glad I was able to get you out of that dinner.
I appreciate the reprieve. If you need a hand, I'm more than happy to lend it. Otherwise, I probably should go rescue my own captain, or is.
Sorry, I'm getting a bunch of messages now that my phone's not muted. Our Captain Tavares will continue talking until someone makes him stop, or until everyone leaves. So it wouldn't be wrong. It wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing for you to go rescue your captain.
Yeah, Tara probably ended up more or less politely interrupting at some point and started almost lecturing him about Emil culture and what he will need to know when they get on the surface, and started using food to make diagrams and with big hand gestures. And she started on a ramble now, and you can't stop her.
Every now and then he'll interject and like grab a piece of meat and off of your display, and if this happens, I don't know. Just, what happens if
The
this?
North
I see the
Western
problem
Front.
if I just do this.
Right. What if this group over here decides they want to invade this group over here? Ah! Kind of. Just trying to get the. You get that he's very invested in what you're saying, even though he doesn't really get a lot of the cultural stuff. Once you start getting into the way things are laid out and the way the civilizations are functioning together, that's when he gets really interested. Like the logistics of the civilizations is when he gets very engaged, to the point where the XO actually looks at the captain and Kostra and kind of waves you over to where the chef is. There's like a little bar there, a little waiting, a bar. You know, it's a little sushi bar kind of deal.
Sure.
If you don't mind, the captain's going to be there until you make him not be there. And they seem to be enjoying themselves. So I will rescue you as best I can. And he pours a drink for both of you. It has been an exhausting month and a half, Captain. We have been doing a lot of back work. The Laramarians, like the group that you encountered with some time ago, very fascinating species. We're working on ways to be able to go down to their planet and have conversations with them that are not just through atmospheric communication, but they're so deep in the water. It's interesting stuff. Tell me what's it been like to explore the worlds the way you have? I'm fascinated by it. And Mr. Kostra, stiff drink?
Yeah, I'll take whatever you got. Stiffer the better.
We don't have to actually roleplay this out if you guys don't want to, but just that's what he's done to get you away from things.
Oh, sure.
Just because it's the same rehashing stuff we've already talked about.
Yeah, sure.
Let's go back to the party. Things here appear to be wrapping up. We've got Kendall has left the room, obviously, and a lot of the energy it was already kind of winding down anyways, but the energy, a lot of the good vibe energy has kind of left the room, and a lot of people are beginning to pack up and head out. It's down to mostly just like the hardcore partiers and the direct friends of Kostra, like hanging out and talking. And even Kostra is probably, well, I don't know. Kostra might not ever slow down. I don't know. Or Koba, I mean, not Kostra.
Koba.
Koba may never slow down. It's hard to say. But I think a quick wind down of Silva and Tong could be a fun one.
Agreed. So yeah, maybe they're walking back to their quarters. Seems like a fun way to do that.
Sure.
Yeah. And she'll say, this was a great idea. Thanks for asking me, Tom.
Yeah, of course. No, this was a lot of fun. Not sure what I expected, but it was fun. It was very, very, very interesting. A lot of different things happened tonight.
Yeah, I mean, there was only one fight, which kind of counts as a poor party in my book. But it's more than you'll see on most Starfleet starships.
Right, I'd imagine. Back at the academy, there were yeah, those could get a little out of hand.
Well, just promise me if I ever get into a fight at the party, you'll back me up.
Right. Yes, I can do that. Of course I can.
I think she'll reach out. She'll touch his head, his lobes. She'll lean down and she'll just kiss the top of his lobes. Thanks for the evening.
Right. No, it was a great time.
Well, I'll see ya.
Right. Yeah. This is you. it was great. We should do it again. I mean, I don't know when if Cobra's gonna do anything like this, but we could.
I think next time. I think we can have our next day without Koba. I've got some holodeck time after third shift tomorrow. You ever gone rock climbing?
No, I can't say that I have.
Well, then I have some rocks to show you.
Right, rock climbing. It can't be too hard, can it?
Only if you do it right.
Right. Okay.
All right. Holodeck 3. See you then.
Okay. Great. Right. Good night.
Good night. She walks through the door, gives him one more glance, and the door slides shut behind him.
I wasn't sure how much of that rock climbing was a euphemism, but
No, none of it. I did not mean any of it to be euphemism.
I know. So yeah.
I think really it was I've got some rocks for you.
It was the rocks from you, and how hard can it be? It doesn't have to do it right. I got what you're going. I think it's fun. It's cute. Tong gets his nice exhale, and we cut.
I think my favorite scene. It was adorable.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else at the party have anything they want to shut down? Anything they want to do on the way out? I think we don't have much for. Well, I mean, Yezebeth and Define. I don't think you guys really had much going on there.
Don't think so. Yezebeth is gonna. She stays at the party longer than she thought she would.
Yeah.
So it was a successful night, although she is exhausted mentally and physically by the end of the night.
So we're left with basically Koba, Mills, Define, and Gisa.
Koba is passed out behind the holographic bandstand.
I figured Mills and Gisa sort of left, like stage left to Kendall's stage right.
Sure. Do we want to do that scene?
We don't.
What, Mills ushering Gisa out of the room?
I thought we were wrapping up in that direction.
I got you.
That's understood, but
that's fine. I wasn't sure where that left off, but I like that. That works.
Yeah, I think it was Mills doing the whole. Yeah, let's we'll find an after party somewhere. Let's get out of here.
Right. Let's shut that down.
Yeah.
After a little time goes by, that party's wound down, and it's getting pretty late on the aboard the Apache when finally the captain, Captain Tenavere, is getting ready to. You could tell like the cooks have cleaned up everything else, and he's like, if we're going to continue this conversation, we should have more food. At which point the XO steps in and says, "I believe it's fairly late, Captain. The crew of the Europa has a lot of work to do in the morning. I'm sure maybe we should call it an evening." At which point the Captain Tavares sits back in his chair and kind of rubs his belly and finally pulls the thing off of the bib that is just soaked in grease, and to the point where his uniform is also now soaked in grease. Jeez. And other things. Pulls it off and throws it on the table. So be it. Well, he stands up, kind of forces himself out of the chair. Captain Ambrose, it was very good to meet you, and puts out a hand that is still covered in gross. He hasn't really washed his hand much. It was a pleasure meeting you. I have heard there are so many stories of you, and you live up to all of them. I am grateful to have a chance to have met you.
Stories, Captain. They have a way of getting away from the individual. It was a pleasure.
Yes. You're a good doctor. Les here, and walks over and picks up a couple more of the pieces of whatever she was using as terrain. Like a truffle pops in his mouth. I'm looking forward to her coming to work aboard ship. I think we have an excellent future ahead of us. This is a meal issue I think we can handle it quite clearly and plainly, with the help of Dr. Les, of course. And by the time the Savi comes back in. If you'll excuse me, it was a good evening. I'm going to go take a rest. And if we have any need of you, Captain, we will talk to you as soon as we can.
Very good. Me and the XO here will make sure all the transfers are in order.
Yes. Commander Vorens here will escort you back to the transporter room. I had a gift for you here, and I can't remember where I put it. I'll tell you what, I will have the commander transfer it to you once I actually figure out where I put it. He looks around a little bit and then kind of, I might have left my quarters. Again, Captain, good to see you.
Yes, likewise. It's always a pleasure to exchange pleasantries with another Federation officer, especially out here.
Maybe next time we meet, we can have this aboard the Europa. I've been wanting to see a newer ship.
Well, the ship is impressive, but we might have to work on the meal.
You don't have your chefs.
If we get around to it, I will.
Facilities.
Did you want my sous chef?
I think we'll make do for now.
Fair enough. Good night, Captain. Doctor.
Captain.
Chief.
Costra grabs a bit to go, plops it into a bag, and he's like, what? They don't have this in the replicator.
All right. You guys can get back to the ship. Anything else we want to do to wrap up the evening? I don't really have anything else. I was going to have a pack lid thing happen, but it's late enough. I don't want to do that. We kind of got lost in the parties.
I think I'm
That's
good.
just what we need right now.
I know.
Right?
I know. We're close enough to where the pack lid and Romulan situation happened earlier. I was going to follow up on that, but we're probably kind of past that at this point.
We had talked about ending the session with the Ambrose Desavi mind meddling conversation.
Yeah,
we can. We could also, if you really want to hold that off, we can, because we have an episode of that coming up. But it wouldn't hurt to have it if you want to have it now.
I'd like to have the personal conversation now.
All right. We'll have you guys beam back aboard the ship. You exit the transport room, and I assume that Varen and Kostra, hang on. Good Lord. Excuse themselves and head back to not doing whatever it is that this is. Varen probably has things to clean, and I'm sure Kostra has uniform to pour himself out of.
Yeah.
And I imagine
Tara probably relaxes the minute they're off the other ship and just gives Ambrose and Asavi a look of, I'm going to have to deal with that for the next however long.
He means well. He's a bit rough around the edges.
No easy assignment in Starfleet.
they're both.
I've met many.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's the word? It's not insensitive higher officers. They are usually not suited for diplomatic missions, from my understanding. I'm going to go make a booklet for him. Make sure to include pictures. She goes off.
Make sure you have their dietary stuff in included.
She's probably going to go off and find Elizabeth too, because she told her she'd be back.
Okay. That might be a fun thing to do. So the two of you, Desavi and Ambrose, are walking through the halls back to, I'm guessing, respective quarters, since they're on the same deck. You can have it's late on the ship, so there's not really any crew around. You could have the conversation in the hallway, or you could have it in one of the quarters if you wanted to. Either way, but you're making your way through the corridors at the moment to your quarters on deck 2.
Yeah, I think as we're walking, Sabi's not really saying much, but there is a very clear sense that she has a lot to say. That something is weighing very heavily on her. And as they reach her quarters, he says, "If you have a moment, could we talk?"
You can probably feel that Ambrose is like actually legitimately tired from that evening, from that encounter, mentally exhausted. He'll nod. Of course.
She will just kind of wave him in, make a couple Rectinos in the replicator, hand him one. Unofficially, off the record. And she sits down and sets the Rectigino on the coffee table in front of her. I told Jurad several times, I'm not fit for command. This is not a position I'm suited to. This is not a position I ever wanted. I agreed to attempt the command cert for my friend. I stepped into the role for the ship. I think recent events, especially contrasted with, no doubt Starfleet will see it differently. But I think contrasted with the command I hold in a med bay versus what happened the other day plays that out. I didn't know what to do, Arani. We had 6 dead that didn't need to be, and I couldn't bear the thought of any more of our own dying. Or any more of theirs dying because of us.
As a doctor, you're trying to do everything you can to save life, preserve life. Outside of the med bay, you go from blue to reds. Sit down in the big comfy chairs in the bridge, or you beam down to a planet. The training is different. Because you can't always save life, preserve life. You have to strive for that. It has to be a priority. But you can't let that paralyze you. You have to grow a callus that I don't. That most people shouldn't have to grow. Sure, you've lost people in the mid bay before. I know you have. But you don't see them until after whatever did that to them. When your commands, you're usually the person who sent them there. Nobody's first command goes well. It's a learning curve.
Learning curves don't involve taking someone's autonomy, even if it is in the interest of saving their lives.
I'm sure you've heard the reports, the stories, as I have, about the Dominion occupation of Beta Z. They used your gifts at manipulation to save themselves and their planet, to drive out the invaders.
That was war.
That was war.
Different.
It was very different. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, actually, that does not have any place in the Federation and how we conduct ourselves.
Oh, I agree.
We are not meant to be the shepherds of every fledgling species, every faltering civilization out amongst the stars. We can't be. We don't have that right. We don't have the ability to do that. Not logistically, not morally, philosophically.
No, but when we choose to meddle in their affairs,
things get difficult. It's why these observation missions, why first contacts are so dangerous. There were better ways to handle that situation. And you froze. You made a bad call because you were paralyzed by wanting to preserve life, to minimize risk. Minimizing risk is it's good, but there's always going to be some. Because we have to conduct ourselves as Federation representatives. You need to trust that your people are able to handle their own. You had capable officers with you down there. You had standard Starfleet equipment that are well calibrated to be non-lethal. You got in your head as a doctor. I can't fault you for that. Because you are a doctor. You're a damn good one. I know you took the position largely because there was nobody else to. You were closer with Jurad than I was. Every captain needs a first officer they can rely on. I have relied on you while you've been in this position. You bring up a lot of good points. You contrast different thoughts, different values that I have, that I see in the moment. I think if you chose to, you could grow into this position. I'm not sure that's a choice that you want. Pretty sure it's not.
Tell you the same thing I told Jorad every time he said that. I appreciate the confidence. I think it is misplaced.
And that is why you're not a good first officer.
I have a great many talents. This is not it. And I can serve as that counterpoint to you as your CMO. The same I did for Jorad. You don't need me here for this. You need somebody who can make that decision in the field, make the correct decision in the
This was always meant to be a temporary position. Unfortunately, so far away from core Federation space, temporary can take some time. Sure, Admiral Arulani is working on things. There's only so many of us out here in this expanse. I need you to get some rest, to go over these last few missions, looking at the from the outside in. And I need you to pull yourself together. It's late. We're both tired. It's been a few stressful missions in a row. And I'm sure when those reports make their way to brass and back, we'll have more to deal with. But that is why I need you to get some rest, go over things, and get yourself in order. And we'll see what that means soon.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, there's a pause, but I think Ambrose, he'll just stand up, nod, and walk through the door. He's not used to dismissing himself. You're dismissed. Wait, this is your room. Bye.
Go sleep in the bed.
out of your room. I usurp this. All right, let's go ahead and call that a night. I think the Yezebeth thing would have been good, but I think we're over on time. Tonight is a hard out time because I have to work in the morning. So, that was a good episode. What moment stands out to you guys the most?
We didn't roll a single dice.
Maybe not.
You very often don't.
No, I'm not complaining. That was good. It's just kind of funny.
Turned out my backlight there, I just noticed went out because I'm really dark in the stream.
Yeah, you are a little bit.
Yeah, that's all right. Must have got unplugged. So yeah, anybody else have anything that stands out? What moment stands out most to you? I liked the confrontation between Jisa and Kendall. That was fun.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was really good. I liked the very uncouth captain. I loved the Tong and Silva. That was so adorable.
Yeah.
And Dr. Lass training with her food.
Listen, she didn't bring any paper with her.
Oh, I think it's perfect.
You work with what you have.
Jack, Brian, you guys got anything?
I liked a lot of moments. I really enjoyed playing Koba in that scene. Just no drama there. Just he felt at home. Koba in fun with it.
Yeah,
It was a good party.
There was a lot tonight. a lot of very different things tonight. I know I'm going to have to remove myself from it and go back and look at the Jisa Kendall situation, because that is a thing to role play.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that was interesting, but I was an angry Endorian at the moment. and angry, well inebriated Endorian at the moment.
Right.
No, I really liked the Yezbeth going to invite Tara to the party with the worst invitation reason ever. I'm so helpless at parties. Please come with me so I don't have to be alone and scared.
Right.
And then Tara just immediately dragging her into a mosh pit.
If I have to. Oh, wait, this isn't that bad.
I don't know if she would agree that it wasn't that bad, but yeah.
Could have been worse.
Hey, she knows what it's like now.
Yeah.
She had fun. She had an experience.
I think there was a lot of really good reconnects between all of our secondary sort of junior characters that we've missed for a bit. Mm-hmm. It's nice every once in a while to do these like full downtime, full just like ship interaction episodes.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be cool if we could interject a little bit more of them as things are going. So it's not one of these big episodes and then we don't see them for a month,
right,
or more, and then we get back to that. Because I am really interested to see where Jisa and Delphine go, because that always starts weird, progresses promising, and then ends badly.
Ends awkwardly. For sure. I liked that scene a lot. So one of the things I really enjoyed about that scene was I think you saw a lot from Jisa. There was a lot there from Delphine, without question, like the Delphine wanting to deal with her, know more about the future. Where is this going? What does this mean to you? And then Jisa being really completely incapable of having, an emotion, a good emotion. And then having that moment where she sees Tong and Silva having their good moment. And that, I think I like it because I think that leads to Jisa drinking more, Jisa having talk a lot of crap about Kendall and push off her emotions and her feelings on all of that. I think that party, Jisa had the most character growth of all the characters, but also the most I think we've seen from Jisa.
I've been waiting for some good Jisa moment.
It was a good Jisa moment.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm curious to see what Delphine does, because clearly now Delphine has the ball is kind of in her court. Like Jisa certainly could approach and do something, but Delphine now has to make the decision, like, is this something that I can pursue, or is this not going to work? Because she's kind of her own thing over there. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that all plays
two
out.
very different lifestyles,
Yeah.
both in the past and like current mentality, future mentality.
I like it. I think that is probably the most interesting relationship on the ship. I really like Tong and Silva because that's a cute relationship. But the thing is, what I really like is the two side by side, the two compared to each other. And it's both, you guys are both the same character, you're the same players, but completely different characters. And it's interesting to see how all of that is playing out. I like the dichotomy.
That's the benefit of these party scenes. Like that's the reason I've been wanting to do this kind of scene since like session 1.
Yeah,
is because putting all these characters next to each other gives like some alchemy to it.
Right.
Yeah.
I was actually waiting for somebody to really try to engage with Ambrose, and everybody ran away scared.
Yeah,
Ambrose will party, man. I mean, he was in uniform, he had his pips on, but he's an army kid. He'll party.
Heavy's the head that wears the crown.
Yep.
Captain, you're not going to be able to party with the rest of the crew.
I know. I'm going to go grab my special hidden drinks and go over and pour out a round for some people, and they all ran away.
I do like that Silva and him got along well.
Yeah.
I think they have more in common. Considering they are very different, they have more in common than you think.
And this is a big contrast to when we started in the beginning of season 1, because there was kind of some butting heads.
Yeah.
Because of course, Federation in the war and Maquis in two very different, sometimes different sides, very different styles.
Yep.
Similar traumas in some cases. So it's interesting that we're seeing a little bit of that coming together. It's
been fun to watch the character growth over the last season and a half. So what did you see that you want to see more of from another character? Like for me, an example is I really want to see more of this growth from Jisa. I want to see where the growing goes. Not just that we had growth, but I want to see more growth from that character. I think she's probably, as of today, she's probably one of the more interesting sub characters, and she's been kind of hard to wrangle before this. So not wrangle, but you know what I mean. Hard to get along with. She's a very rough character to get along with.
That leads into mind. I want to see the Jissa Kendall thing resolved. We mentioned that before. I think next session we should have something with that.
We should work towards it. Yeah,
for sure.
I don't think it should be too 180, but that was the big, like, we're at the top of the arc here and we need to work towards that resolution.
I'm not necessarily have to have it completely wrap up next session, but I think we need to have it come to a head next session.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure it didn't come to a head just now.
I think that was the head.
Certainly there can be, I definitely want to see where it can go next. And I think that if we're starting to work towards that quote unquote wrapped up with a bow, I think that's a good place to go from.
That felt like bringing it to the conclusion, but I feel like we need the conclusion.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. This was the head, as in this was the climax of the argument between the two. We now have to work towards the resolution at the end of this was the beginning of Act 3, basically.
Sure.
For your guys' thing. Anybody else have anything they want to say?
I did, and then now that Kendall has alluded to it, or not Kendall, Yesbeth has alluded to it out loud in character, or not in character, on screen, I'd like to see the Yesbeth Mills relationship start to repair itself.
Yeah. I have several thoughts on ways that could go.
Yeah. Kendall, you've observed 2 sessions now. What would you want to see from other characters on the ship that would be something that you would want to see as an audience member or as a reoccurring NPC, some kind of thing? What would you want to see other things of on the ship? It's right on the spot.
I'd like to see one of maybe a session of just the quote unquote unimportant characters, just of the secondary characters, just of doing their stuff and having their own specific emergencies, but not the kind that they would call for higher officers for,
right?
But fix themselves.
Lower decks problems.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yes.
Yeah, that can be fun.
Yep.
We don't do a lot of Lower Decks episode type stuff, but we do because the characters always end up being integral to the stories that we're the main stories we're doing. I have to think about how to do a Lower Decks episode without
the shuttle crash was a good example of one.
Sure. But if we did something aboard ship, it'd be kind of it could be really fun to be aboard Europa and doing something where the main characters are the background characters.
Sure.
Yeah.
It could also be something stupid and comedic, just like if y'all ever have like really heavy sessions and just need the comedic relief episode.
Right. Jack, do you have anything?
What question were we on?
What would you want to see from another player or characters that you want to see more of in the future?
I mean, yeah, I think there was a lot of great character development tonight that I'd like to see continue with everybody. Obviously, there's a lot going on with Dasavi, so that's got to go somewhere, and that's going to be really contingent on some decisions we have in the coming week or so. I think Kendall, again, you were great with Tara. I'd loved a lot of those interactions there, and hanging out with Yesbeth, jumping into the mosh pit. I didn't see that coming. That was great. I really enjoyed the foil between Delphine being kind of a wallflower, party pooper, and then Jisa found someone else to go hang out with. Yeah. And it might have been a little not flirty's not the right word.
Charged.
Inspiring jealousy. Like, hey, if you're going to be boring, I'm going to go hang out with this person who's not boring.
Yep. Yeah, I felt that was definitely happening there. That was definitely a thing.
I thought about it. I want to do more with that, because the interesting thing is they are both in not polygamous. What's the polyamorous? They're both in polyamorous relationships. Mm-hmm. So, like, where does jealousy factor into that?
Yeah,
right. Yeah, it's interesting. I know, Kendall, you didn't get a lot of as much screen time this episode because we really hadn't planned on the carryover. But I think you did a great job. I think you throwing yourself into the party as an outsider. I thought it was interesting to see a character who is coming into this fairly close knit ship, actually, and kind of making your way and kind of almost forcing your way into some of these relationships. I thought that was really good. I liked it. So, yeah.
It was either join the party or watch from the outside, but she didn't have a notebook, so she wasn't going to watch.
Right. Just take notes.
It studies people.
Right. What were you going to say, Ev?
Parties are a good place for it.
There was a line that Delphine had that shoved me into perspective, and I want to come back around to this with Delphine and Dasavi somehow. We unfortunately, between breaks and other stuff, we never got to have the scene where Dasavi addressed the fact that Delphine shoved her way into a meeting, or tried to. But that comment that she made, that she tried to shove her way into the meeting about going to rescue them, really, that put that in perspective for me, and I want Dasavi to have that realization too.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be good. That could be a good moment between those two. If you could change one thing about the session, what would it be? I would like to have had some pack-led stuff in there. I really was looking forward to following up on the pack-leds. We just didn't have time.
I feel like the dinner party scene kind of...
It dragged on.
Yeah. That's my only thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it was over the top dragged on, but yeah, it went a smidge a bit longer than it needed to. But yeah,
it dragged on, and that was partially because I realized fairly early on that I wasn't able to get the pack-led stuff in and not interrupt the other party. So I'm like, I just lost my A plot, or my not A plot, but I lost my secondary plot that I was going to do, and I need to fill some time. I didn't even have any characters designed. I had to make them up as I went. So
I feel like for future reference, what we should have done was just skip to the dinner. I don't think we needed we walked to the transporter room, we transport
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
We walk.
Right. I was
think
thinking if there was any
there's-
discussion you guys wanted to have amongst yourselves, which you did.
Yeah.
They were pretty good.
Yeah,
Like,
I thought that was fine.
I don't disagree with you necessarily. I just think that, yeah, that was, and I was trying to give you guys an opportunity to have interpersonal discussions before and after you got there, really.
We were having so many interpersonal discussions.
know.
So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll always find some way to fill that negative space if you give it to us. It's just
Right.
whether that negative space is
Right.
useful.
Yeah.
When we're talking about, so we talked about a little while ago that we want to have more of the interpersonal stuff during the main storylines, which I absolutely agree. The hard part is filling those empty voids. Like we had this moment walking today, which were probably largely unnecessary, but those are the kind of things that we need to figure out how to intersperse into the other stories too. Like
Right.
we overrun. I think when you guys as players start hitting on the main storylines, you are very focused on solving the main storyline. So I've been trying lately to, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but I've been trying lately to add more active B and C plots. Like not just they're there, but like actively forcing them to go forward and having them be more interpersonal stuff. And I think it's working. We'll see.
Physically and temporally displacing people so that you
Yeah.
kind of have to focus on something else.
Right.
So you're switching scenes instead of trying to, on the way to another scene, fill something in. It should feel like two distinct, different
Right.
courses of events.
Right. So anyone else have anything they would like to change about this session?
I would have liked to have more conversation with Elizabeth.
Yes.
And
I think unfortunately we missed out on some of the conversations we should have had with Elizabeth.
Mhm.
I
So.
think, I guess, depending on where we go when we pick up. So we're canceling next week, right? So
Correct. We'll be
pick
off
up
next
2
week.
weeks from now.
Yeah.
I think there is room at the very beginning, like seeing Dr. Les off. I think there's room for that conversation.
yeah, because I wanted to have it last session as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And there's also the whole thing of Tara is mourning for those people that were lost on
Yes.
the planet. And
So-
it was just party episode.
So here's what we'll do. Next session, which will be not next week, but the week after, we'll have Tara come back and we'll open the session, our pre-credit roll, the cold open, whatever. We'll have that open with the conversation between Tara and Elizabeth, and we'll have some of that. And if it works out that we want to have more of that conversation, we can leave Tara on for the longer. Otherwise, we'll see where things go. Yeah, we'll discuss that off camera and see what we want to do with that. Anyone else have anything they want to see that they would do different about the session?
In that vein, I think we brought Ambrose into the party sooner than we should have.
Yeah.
Or I should say, I think we took Tara out of the party sooner than we should have. And I was really contemplating just saying, no, I don't think this is time for Ambrose. But I didn't.
Right. I almost said something like, maybe you don't need to take Tara this early, like taking Vren, or not even taking Vren. It was just the higher officers, really. I almost said something, but I'm like, I don't want to stop what you're doing. I try not to interject what I think the character should do. But I think having her stay at the party could have had more interesting narrative. But it's one of those things you know for sure once you're past it and it's already done.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think if you determined that you weren't going to be able to get the pack leads in at that point or leading up to that point, we really could have pushed that dinner back quite a bit, truncated that, and had a lot more at the party.
Yeah, it happens. It's doing it live. So, all right. I don't have anything else. Do you guys want to add anything else? Anybody have anything they want to add? All right. So if you enjoyed this episode or if you enjoy the show in any way, please feel free to share this with literally anyone and everyone you know. Your grandma will like this show, other than Evelyn swore a lot in this episode. You did.
No, I
You
swore
a lot.
Probably.
I think we all had at least one.
Yeah, I think everybody had almost everybody had at least one, but Evelyn had about 20 or 30, but it was fine. I don't mind it. I'm going to put an explicit tag on this episode, but it's all right. We passed our PG-13 rating. But if you do like the show and you want to support the show, if you can, please find us on Patreon. You can find a link in the show notes. It's the same as the Studio Tempo link tree. It's in there. It's fine. Join us on Discord, the Studio Tempo Discord, or the Starfleet Command Discord, either is fine, and we're there to have. I'm at least there to have conversations. So I don't have anything else. I think live long and prosper.
Yeah.
Hey.